Let's go. Microphone's already close to me. Let's get right into it. It's episode 532 of the Soul Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. Right into it. Joe Rogan, Mike Baker. Now they're talking about politics. Mike Baker is a former CIA operative. Former, because I don't actually believe that you ever get to leave the CIA. Once you're in, it's like the mob. They have you forever. And and when I say they're talking about politics, Joe Rogan makes a claim of who he wants to see as vice president. And I'm shocked because I had the exact same reasoning. I said the exact same person when I was doing a podcast. I think it was with my wife, maybe not, but I put it out there already. Vivek. Why not Vivek? I think Vivek would be the best option for a vice president. Listen, RFK would be lovely, but I think Vivek has what Trump needs. And Joe Rogan gets into that whole thing. Then I'm going to play some clips for you illustrating why I think Vivek would be the best choice. Just some clips of Vivek handling himself. Going to see his plans in terms of like what he has in mind to like, you know, help make America great again. And then also you see him in a clip that I have handling someone from the woke mob. Yes, that's right. Someone from the alphabet community confronts him when he's at a state fair, and the way he deals with it is just perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now let's get into that. Before I do, of course, I know I gotta do it. Bring you over to IamCoachColin.com. We have the Public Enemy #1 shirt is still out and in effect. If you don't know who that is, please Google the World Economic Forum, and you will soon understand why he is public enemy #1. We also have the certified pure blood shirt for those of you that survived the pandemic unscathed and untainted. And we also have the Soul Not For Sale shirt, the one that started it all, my absolute favorite, Soul Not For Sale. I love those shirts. Get yours now. Discount code, 10% off. Here it is right now. No email needed, none of that stuff. Just put in the discount code, I am Coach Colin. 1 L in the name Colin. All capital letters. All one word, no spaces. And that gets you 10% off of everything you just saw and more. Big purchase, small purchase, whatever you'd like. And if you've done that with our store already, thank you so much. You are much appreciated. Now let's get into
it. We imagine the president's got more ability, right, to do things or to change things or to shape things than they actually do, right? So, not in any way to minimize the importance or the stress of that job,
right?
But
well, the stress of the job is unprecedented.
Yeah, you
watch the way it ages people, except him, except Trump. Yeah. That motherfucker just like a duck to water.
So, what do you think? Is he getting the nomination? Is he going to be?
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah. I was wrong before when we talked about this a while back.
I don't think they could stop him.
Yeah.
I think the people that want Trump in office, they view the hypocrisy of this administration, the corruption, the open borders, the economy collapsing, the open checkbook to Ukraine. They view all this shit. They view all the clamping down on internal combustion engines, the green shit, what they think that is going to kill the economy and centralize money into a few very powerful hands.
Yeah,
they don't buy it at all, and they think that he's their only solution.
Does anybody from the GOP side, any of the candidates have a chance to take the nomination instead of Trump?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean I agree. I don't see
who it would be. Unless something horrible happens to him. That Vivek guy is very interesting.
Yeah.
He's very rational and very smart.
He does seem to talk directly about the issues.
Yes.
Right? Unlike some of the folks who are speaking more aspirational and talking about, direction of the country, he does seem to focus more on these are the things we need to do specifically.
He's also clearly very, very intelligent. Like superior intelligence. Like when you hear him discuss nuanced issues, he also has very good emotional intelligence because I've seen him not just challenged but disparaged on radio shows and podcasts, and he handles things very, very well. And that discussion with him was what got Don Lemon removed from CNN because Don Lemon and him went at it. I think he's but he's very young too. Like, would people want a 37-year-old guy running the entire country? Even if it's a truly exceptional mind, and truly exceptional person, which I think he is.
Well, this may be the cycle, right? Meaning sort of this Biden. I mean, if Biden ends up, do you think that's the second part of the question? Do you think Biden's going to be the guy?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's probably going to be fucking Mr. California.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be Gavin Newsom. I think they're probably going to try to whitewash all the failures of California and all the disastrous policies and just view him as the most presidential of the leftist progressive candidates.
And keep Kamala Harris as the VP?
No way.
No.
Not a chance in
Yeah.
hell. I think she steps down. I think if I had to guess, something comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't want to do it anymore. Yeah, he has a better choice. They find her another position. She decides that she would better serve somewhere else, I just don't imagine that they wouldn't see her as a massive liability.
Yeah. Oh, I think they do. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
but she, as long as Biden's the candidate,
Right.
she's the VP on the ticket. Right?
Unless something horrible happens with her. Right?
Yeah.
Some sort of scandal or some sort of thing or, Look, they removed Andrew Cuomo when just a couple months before he was the darling of the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they just decided that he was too much of a liability, and so they went after him.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how. I don't know that the party's got what it takes to come out without an incident, right? Without something, and you hate to say anything about anybody's health, but without something on a health perspective happening with Biden.
Well, the health perspective has already happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super clear at this point. I mean, people were giving me shit about saying it in 2020. It's super clear that he's got like real mental problems, like whatever they are, whether it's dementia, which is pure old age, whatever it is. Like he's got. I mean, when he closes his eyes, that's when everybody goes into a panic. Where he's like,
No, I know, but look at what we've got. We've got him doing that, right?
Yeah.
And then he whispers. The part with his presentation that always drives me
Yeah.
crazy is when he whispers, "Get vaccinated. It's Bidenomics. It's
Yeah.
working."
Yeah,
And you think,
it's
okay, stop doing that.
well,
it's-
he's
yeah.
just a goof. He's always been a goofy guy.
But you got that. You got Mitch McConnell, kind of fading out,
Falling apart.
almost having a mini stroke
Yeah.
during his speech that
he
one
locked
time
up.
in front of the press, and
Well,
then
they're so old.
yeah. Have you
These
seen
people are
Feinstein
so-
is still
yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Feinstein is still there. She's handed over control. She's, like said, my daughter has control of my, business and everything,
Yeah.
and conservatorship or whatever. But I'm staying here until 2025.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
So-
and it's such a fucking strange time. It's so strange. And
So maybe somebody like Vivek says, I'm going to sit this one out. I mean, that would be to me, that would be the smart thing. If you've got aspirations and you've got the ability, but you're young, you think maybe I'll just let the whole system reboot right now because this Biden-Trump thing is just so
well,
bizarre.
Trump could choose him
Yeah.
as a VP, and I think he would be a formidable VP. If Trump runs with him as a VP, I think that's a massive asset. I really do.
Yeah.
I think because that guy, you could see him in 4 years being the president. He's so rational and intelligent. When I listen to him talk, I'm like, that's what I want from a president. I want a level-headed, super intelligent, rational person who has had a massive amount of success in the real world, who decides to enter into politics because he thinks that he can serve in a meaningful way and he thinks that he can impart change in a meaningful way. At least that's what I'm getting
Yeah.
from him
Yeah.
in my most rose-colored glasses view of the world.
But is that what I don't know if that's what the voters want, right? Because again,
Well, he would balance
yeah,
out what people don't like about Trump.
Yeah.
With this bombastic personality, but also like you got to give credit to the guy because that bombastic personality really did expose the deep state. It really did expose all this corruption and that's geared all the fucking Russia collusion, the fact that the media was completely on board with that there's been no apologies that this was all bullshit.
Yeah.
There's so much of that he exposed because of the fact that he fights tooth, claw, and nail. The fact that he won't back down, and then he gets it, and he literally goes after the intelligence community, which is obviously from your perspective is a terrible idea.
Well, no.
And then Mike starts talking about, no, you could go after them if you want, I don't know what'll happen to you though. But Trump's been standing on that, going hard at that. You know what Trump did when he talks about like really exposing things? The analogy I have, like when you go to comedy clubs, right? Like while I was doing stand up, you go to clubs a lot, right? And you see everybody's doing their sets. Everybody's just doing the thing, right? And then sometimes someone will heckle somebody and you'll watch that person get absolutely lit up. The comedian will just go in on them. But sometimes, and these comedians look the same, they're both doing the same thing, but sometimes someone else will get heckled and they'll freeze. And they'll be like, and they don't know what to do. And that's kind of what Trump did to the political system. He came in like a heckler and was just like, what are you going to do about it? Lock her up. And she was just like, whoa, can you do that? And he's just like, everybody chant it, lock her up. And he's just giving people nicknames. He did expose a lot. He definitely woke me up to politics and what's going on. And at first, admittedly, it was like, how could someone like him become president? And then like after maybe 5 months, I was like, oh. And then I learned a thing or two about Hillary Clinton. And I was like, wow, I think he just saved the world. I think he just saved the whole world. Because if she was in power, who knows? Buddy, that body count. I'm not even going to get into it. It would be like triple, quadruple. Oh, it'd be nuts. It'd be nuts. She'd probably get Trump. She'd probably go after Trump right away. But Vivek, let's talk more about Vivek. Let's get into some Vivek stuff here. I have 2 clips, like I told you. I'm gonna play the one where he handles the woke lady first. I think that's a good one to play first. Let's grab that one real quick. Here it is. Let's play that.
I was just wondering, what were your opinions on the LGBTQ plus community?
Well, I don't think it's one community.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, how could it be? Just mashed together an alphabet soup. Trans is fundamentally in tension with gay, if you ask me. But what's your opinion?
I'm personally pansexual, so I was just wondering what your views on same-sex couples were.
I don't have a negative view of same-sex couples, but I do have a negative view of a tyranny of the minority. So I think that in the name of protecting against a tyranny of the majority, and there are times in this country's history where we have had a tyranny of the majority, we have now, in the name of protecting against tyranny of the majority, created a new tyranny of the minority. And I think that that's wrong. I don't think that somebody who's religious should be forced to officiate a wedding that they disagree with. I don't think somebody who is a woman who's worked really hard for her achievements should be forced to compete against a biological man in a swim competition. I don't think that somebody who's a woman that respects her bodily autonomy and dignity should be forced to change clothes in a locker room with a man. That's not freedom, that's oppression. And so I believe that we live in a country where free adults should be free to dress how they want, behave how they want, and that's fine. But you don't become oppressive by foisting that on others. And that especially includes kids, because kids aren't the same as adults. And so I think adults are free to make whatever choices they want, but do not foist that ideology onto children before children are in a position as adults to make decisions for themselves. And so I think a lot of the frustration in the country, and if I'm being really honest, that I also share, comes from that new culture of oppression where saying those things can actually get somebody punished. And in my case, it's part of why it's my responsibility to say them. And I respect that you may have a different opinion, and that's okay. It's part of what makes our country great is that you and I can be civil and have this conversation, and that we live in a country that still gives us, each of us, the right to speak to a presidential candidate and back and still say that we pledge allegiance to the same nation. So I think that's the beauty of our country, and that's my honest opinion.
Awesome. Well,
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you for your civility as well. I appreciate it.
Wow. I love it. Honestly. And I'm going to play the next clip in a second, but let's be real. She turned around and just tweeted out. She's like, well, I just met a fascist today. Boop. Kidding. She was actually really nice. And the thing is, she seemed really nice, but if he didn't handle that a certain way, it could have went completely left. It could have went just nuts. And I don't mean, you know what I mean? It could have went bad. Could have been really bad. And I feel like if Trump was there in place of him, while I'm talking about him being vice president, he gives that type of answer. If it was Trump, he'd be like, next question. Next question. You there? You? Yeah, we're done. Because he doesn't play around. He's like a no-nonsense guy. But Vivek comes in, and he's very polished. He knows exactly what to say. He knows exactly how to diffuse things. I think it would be a great pairing. I think Trump would turn to the American people, and he'd say exactly what he needs to say. Like when he was talking about China, he's like, and I'm gonna turn to him and I'm gonna say, listen, motherfucker. And the crowd went insane when he said that. I think he'll say stuff like that, and then he'll go and send Vivek And Vivek will talk about it like, okay, well, this is what has to happen. And the president's not backing down. He's very serious. You know what I mean? Them two in the same room doing it. I just think it's incredible. Both billionaires. I think Vivek founded billion-dollar companies. I don't know if his net worth is in the billions, but both of them high-level business minds. One of them is high-level, Trump. He's a New Yorker, high-level, get things done, go, go, go. I'm going to build the biggest skyscraper type of business. And Vivek builds tech businesses that are great, that are impactful, that help a lot of people. And they both come from like opposite sides of business, but have been just as successful. Trump more successful, but you know what I mean. When you're making billions, we don't have to count who's billions or more. Let's play him now talking to someone about what he would do as president when it comes to China and when it comes to America as a whole.
A lot about China. A few of the other presidential contenders have told me that we are in a cold war with China. Do you believe that?
I think the terminology matters less than the substance. We're dependent on our adversary. They're fundamentally hostile to the United States. I'm going to end that, not by marching us into war. The only way I'll be a wartime president is if Joe Biden sleepwalks us into one before I take office. But even still, what I'm going to focus on is keeping our young men and women out of harm's way, while at the same time reducing and then ending our economic dependence on an enemy. That's how we actually stand up with the spine.
How do you end that economic codependence that you talked about?
Well, this is a long conversation. We got to onshore as much to the U.S. as possible, but I'm also realistic. We need relationships with South Korea, Japan, India, Philippines, Vietnam, go around the Pacific Rim, Australia. We're going to have to enter those as bilateral trade relationships to supplement with onshoring to the United States. Then I sit across the table from Xi Jinping and I say, brother, we're done. Okay, unless you're reforming, no IP theft, data theft, no forced technology transfers, no turning companies into lobbying pawns. We're done with it, and we're out. And he will know I mean it. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to fold, because they're in a tougher spot than we are. We just have to have the spine to open it up and actually see that for what it is. And it's been a long time since we've ever had a president who did.
Wow. See what I mean? And of course, he's a politician, so, you know, they always say the right things. But I think that the things that he is saying, especially when it comes to what he just broke down there, like that's way above my pay grade, but he knows exactly, he has an exact plan, as a businessman would, just like Trump would, an exact plan of what needs to happen in order for America to be in a better place. And that's all you need. And if you ask Joe Biden what needs to be done right now, somebody would step in front of you, one of his aides, and they'd say, "We have to go, Mr. President." And he would just be like, "Oh, I'm going to Maui. I'm going surfing." That's what he would say. Crazy. I'm going to do an episode on Maui in a second too. Wild stuff out there. But that's what I think in terms of a vice president. And I'm glad Joe was echoing the same sentiments. If you haven't liked the video already, like the video. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. We're making 1 to 3 videos a day. No one else is doing that. I'm just saying. And what do you guys think? What do you think of Trump and Vivek? I think we kind of know Trump's going to win. Unless they do some really shady stuff and try to put him in jail for 500 years, we're going to see Trump win. And then if he made Vivek the vice president, I think that would just be perfect. I think they're a perfect balance. I mean, when's the last time you heard about DeSantis? Maybe a few months ago I would have said DeSantis. I think maybe even I did. But now the more I hear from Vivek and the more you hear from DeSantis, you kind of see Vivek's a better choice. I think DeSantis is better off in Florida, making it one of the greatest states ever. Continue to do that is for as long as he can. And, you know, let these guys handle the country and the free world, you know? I think that would just be better. And also, I would say as well that if they do put Trump in jail, let's say everything was just guilty all across, he's up to like 400 years in prison. I don't think that's going to go as smooth as a lot of the Democrats think. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying what's going to happen. I'm just saying I don't think they understand that that's not going to be a smooth process. That's all I'm saying. But other than that, guys, I am out.